Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to be with you today and have the opportunity to address such an esteemed audience and to personally welcome you and invite you to the Maltese Islands. I have been invited by Property Malta, as obviously the authority has an indirect or rather a direct interest in potential property purchases in Malta, because a potential purchaser in Malta is also a potential tourist when he visits to see our properties and to potentially buy properties, because obviously they will want to experience holistically the Maltese Islands during their stay in Malta, accommodate themselves in our hotels, and to taste our cuisine in our formidable restaurants and visit our beaches and explore our historical and cultural treasures in Malta. My name is Gavin, Gulia, and I am the chairman of the Malta Tourism Authority, and my primary responsibility is to promote the Maltese Islands in tourism source markets abroad as a year-round destination, and I am assisted by a team of formidable staff at my head office in Malta and the overseas network, which has been active for more than 20 years, and that includes colleagues based in our offices in France, which is our fourth most important source market after the UK, Italy, and Germany. Today, the Maltese Islands boast a truly varied and vibrant product offer that meets the interests of an ever more diverse and demanding traveller, underpinned by Malta's core brand values of heritage, hospitality, and diversity. Whether one is looking for an active holiday or simply to relax on the beach, join an English learning class or a diving club, swim in the blue seas, or climb up the cliffs, or you prefer to go classic, or rather more pop, enjoy a local beer in an old village bar, or a glass of fine wine with a view, taste our traditional pastizzi, or rather a more refined culinary delights, join the festa. We have plenty of festa celebrations in Malta, or opt for the opera. Experience the mystical atmosphere of 7,000-year-old Neolithic temples, or the richness of St. John's Co-Cathedral in Valletta. Whether visiting for business or on a short break with your partner or with a group of friends or with family. But tourism in Malta, it continues to assume the role of Malta's single most important economic activity, estimated to directly generate around 12% of gross domestic product and up to 24% of total value added in the Maltese economy if its full economic impact are taken into consideration. Over the past 65 years, tourism has helped Malta shift from a subsistence economy dependent on British military expenditure and primary activities such as agriculture into a vibrant services-based economy which guarantees to the Maltese a high standard of living in spite of living on a resources-poor and densely populated archipelago in the center of the Mediterranean. Malta has witnessed 7 decades of tourism development. In 1960, we took off from a very humble beginnings with annual tourist arrivals of a mere 20,000 tourists. By 1970, we had reached the 170,000 mark, and following the boom period of the 1970s, we peaked at 730,000 tourists in 1980. The symbolic 1 million mark was exceeded in the mid-1990s, after which a period of relative stagnation ensued, during which our tourism industry struggled to come to terms with the brave new world of independent travelers and online bookings. But by the first few years of the new millennium, our industry has fully adjusted to the new challenges and opportunities, embarked on an almost uninterrupted growth trend which has seen tourism increase every single year since 2006. At this point in time, we exceeded the 2 million tourist mark, with 2017 being the year when we will surpass the 2 million mark, and most probably by the end of this year, we will hit 2.3 million tourists. Now, this is a veritable achievement for a small destination with a mere 430,000 people living in 315 square kilometers. So proportionately, this is very important for Malta from the tourism perspective. And this does not include the additional 800,000 cruise liner passengers who visit us as day trippers every year and are statistically accounted for differently than tourist arrivals. Given that our tourists generally have to fly to Malta, tourists' length of stay in Malta tends to be on the high side and the long side, averaging 8 nights per tourist. And this is expected to generate an excess of 15 million overnight stays this year, with a resultant tourist expenditure of more than 1.8 billion per annum. Our strategy over the past years has been to manage growth through the combined principles of improved airline connectivity, geographical diversification, and improved seasonal spread. And in achieving this, we have been assisted by Malta's versatility as a small destination with a rich and varied year-round offer, a destination where history, culture, leisure, and business mix naturally in our very safe Mediterranean island setting. There are obviously many reasons to which we can attribute our success. International tourism continues to grow everywhere, year after year, as tourism shows that its resilience to all sorts of adversity, be it economic, political, health, or terror-related. But our growth rates have continuously exceeded the overall international growth rates year after year. So we also identify a number of other reasons behind our success. Firstly, improved airline connectivity has made it possible for Malta to become more directly accessible to its tourism-generating markets. If I have to mention France, for instance, we are connected daily. In summer, we have even more than 2 flights every day. And obviously, connectivity, that helps, because if a potential buyer of property wants to visit Malta, or a potential tourist generally, he has a direct link, more than one link every day, even in regard to frequencies. Secondly, given the development of a multifaceted product, Malta today possesses wider motivational appeal, and tourists are visiting it for a multitude of reasons during different times of the year. I would like to point out that obviously even the French have left their mark in Malta. If you visit Malta, you will see characteristics of French culture, because, as you know, Malta was under occupation also by the French in the days of Napoleon, and also because of the Knights of St. John, who had stayed in Malta for a very long time. There were also grandmasters who were of French descendancy, and obviously they have also left their mark on our culture, on our product, and also on our language. We have, thirdly, within all this, we have also benefit from sustained government support, which is very important, and this has made it possible for us to enter into long-term planning and commitments, and generating the necessary stability and certainty to engage into long-term relationships with our suppliers. We have also learned to benefit from the advantages of shareholder collaborations and intelligence sharing between all players in the industry. As you can see, this is a shared initiative spurred by Property Malta, and where the private sector is very much involved with the government. I am a government representative, and even on my MTA board, I am assisted by players from the private sector, like the Malta Hotels and Restaurants Association, by the Malta Travel Agents, by Malta International Airport, which is run by an Austrian airport of Vienna, Austria. So decisions are taken together between the government and the private sector, because the government recognizes that it is the private sector that is the motor of the economy, and decisions should be taken by the private sectors and supported by the government. Not least, this is another initiative which is, as I said, spurred by Property Malta, which is not on my board of the Malta Tourism Authority, but we have a very consistent collaboration, and this is one example, because the MTA is positioning itself, considering the interest that there is in Malta in the property segment. It is an opportunity for the Malta Tourism Authority to concentrate and focus also on this particular niche of property tourism. What are the opportunities? International tourism growth is expected to continue, while Malta constantly continues to reinvent itself and reposition itself. Next year, our capital, Valletta, will be the European capital of culture, and this is providing for a huge momentum for development of the cultural tourism dimension. Critical masses in tourism volumes have been reached, and this makes it less difficult for the destination to regenerate. The image of Malta as a destination of first choice is climbing closer to the top as we become less considered as a country of second destination. In conclusion, in spite of the success, we keep our feet firmly planted on the ground, and we are aware that tourism requires constant attention and that every year is different from the one just ended. But we also believe that hard work delivers results, and we remain confident that tourism will continue to possibly contribute to Malta's economic development and success in the years to come. Thank you so much.